Does your childhood define you? Follow Amir's journey. Ties That Bind, Part 2. Follow, like, bookmark. Keep this for later.
Amir crouched under the twisted branches of the old banyan tree, seeking shelter from the pounding monsoon rains. Muddy rivulets ran down his face, blending with the bitter tears he could no longer hold back. He shivered as the chill soaked through his thin shirt, making his teeth chatter. But anything was better than returning to that house, where he never felt wanted or warm, no matter how high the fire burned in the hearth. 20 years of memories haunted this place, etched into the very bark against which Amir leaned. He remembered climbing these same branches as a gawky child, peals of laughter drawing his sister Aisha to join in his games. Back when her eyes still shone with joy in his presence, before their father's harshness had cast a pall over both their spirits. Before Amir had stopped trying to gain the approval that never came, no matter how he struggled to obey. He glanced up at the high, crooked branch he had fallen from at 8 years old, too eager to prove his climbing skills to heed Aisha's caution. Amir had lain crying in the mud with a broken arm till she came and got their father. For months, Amir had secretly hoped the accident might soften Rahim's heart and earn him care like his sister received. But as his arm mended, things only got worse. By 10 years old, Amir stopped looking to Rahim for comfort and learned to hide his tears where none could hear. After their mother died, Rahim's heart hardened like the baked earth after a drought. Any affection dried up as he focused solely on supporting the family. His weathered hands perpetually clenched into calloused fists. Amir's youthful antics no longer amused his father like when Amir was a babe, trailing after Rahim's ankles, begging to be picked up and swung about in his strong arms. Those days were long gone. As Amir entered his teenage years, clash after clash arose between tempestuous youth and disciplinarian father. Amir often snuck off to escape Rahim's stern lectures and the sting of his cane against his backside. In the back alleys of town, Amir found company among other youths nursing their own bitterness against uncaring parents and poverty. They found trouble to occupy idle hands and minds, gambling with dice, smoking harsh tobacco from clay pipes, pilfering fruits from the market. Amir's book learning fell aside as he learned the lessons of surviving by his wits and charm on the streets. At home, Aisha implored him to change his ways, to make peace with their aging father before time ran out. But Amir always scoffed and turned away. After years of distance, he no longer trusted his sister's concern. She was their father's pet, quiet, dutiful, and scholarly. The perfect child. Amir refused to compete for crumbs of Rahim's affections as he once had. His mother's memory kept him bound to this house, but it was no home to him. He found that belonging among his ragtag gang of friends instead. Yet beneath the bravado, Amir still nursed the core of hurt carved out by Rahim's coldness all those years. Some nights he stared at the prayer beads clutched in his hand, one of the few things that had been his mother's, and let the tears come in the darkness. He begged the silent walls for answers. Why did God let her die and leave him with a family that felt more like a prison? How could Rahim's heart soften enough to love Amir again, as he once had when Amir was still innocent and pure? The empty room never answered. Amir hardened his own heart, kept his head down, and survived. He asked less and less of God, nor of his father. Over the years, Amir watched Rahim's strong frame become stooped and brittle, saw age spots appear on hands, once able to carry both children at once. Aisha patiently cared for their father as illness slowly crippled him. Amir kept his distance, unsure if it was resentment or grief that filled him at seeing this once imposing man wither before his eyes. He continued seeking solace on the streets, rather than face the feeling seeing Rahim's decline dredged up. The end came swiftly one night during the rainy season when the rivers swelled and lightning flashed through the muggy air. Amir was shaken from sleep by Aisha, begging him to run for the doctor. Their father's fever had returned and his breathing turned frighteningly shallow. By the time Amir returned, soaked to the bone and lungs burning, Rahim had drawn his last rattling breath, Aisha weeping at his beside. That was yesterday. Amir had stood staring at his father's body for endless minutes, emotions raging through him like the storm outside. Rage, grief, pain, regret. When it became too much, he fled into the monsoon downpour. He could not bear to sit through the burial rites, to see the final shovelfuls of dirt cover Rahim's face forever. So Amir took refuge under this tree, letting the rain mix with his tears. He murmured prayers half forgotten, wondering when he had started caring again about making peace with a father who had long since abandoned him.
Thank you for listening. The story is reaching its peak. Continue to part 3.